The Guardian of the Worlds presents The Challenge of Swarta Cave.
Enbark, 24th of Epiphanius of 41 after Universal War. My dearest journal. A few days ago, I started telling you about Rakt's message, informing us that the assembly of Arus's subjects had requested to send us on a mission. This mission would serve us as an exam to assess our progress in controlling the extraordinary abilities granted by our pendants. It would also provide training for future operations when the Guardian of the Worlds would require us to retrieve the remaining gems. To initiate the mission, Rakt asked us to gather around him. Following our mentor's instruction, Yakren positioned himself first, and we followed suit. Rakt raised his staff and hit the ground, creating a dull sound. My gaze focused on the spot where Rakt's crozier impacted. A magnificent piece capable of performing almost unimaginable feats. To my astonishment, a peculiar transparent sphere appeared and surrounded us. I struggled to comprehend what was happening until a wave of energy surged beside me. At that moment, I witnessed the volute of Rakt's staff emit a dazzling glow as he tightly held onto it with his eyes closed. The force emanating from that extraordinary object violently shook our mentor's garments and hair. After a few seconds, the brilliance dissipated and Arus's disciple returned to his normal appearance. My amazement lingered as the rarefied air brushed against my face, signifying that we were no longer at the Grand Sea. "Where are we?" I curiously asked, observing a massive stone cavern enveloped by an almost impenetrable forest.
"Welcome to the Swarta Cave,"
Rakt replied.
Rakt, where on earth are we?
Yakren asked, visibly nervous.
Have you transported us to another world?
"I wish I owned such abilities, but we still stand in Olympis."
He responded, smiling. I must confess that I never imagined such a place existed in our world. Our constant isolation from the outside led me to believe that there was nothing of interest beyond the Grand Sea. Now, I pondered the other wonders awaiting discovery on this planet.
"What's our mission?"
Arus inquired, giving a curious look to the young disciple, as if hoping to uncover something that didn't quite add up in this adventure.
Finally, someone asks.
Rakt exclaimed, his voice brimming with amusement.
"Your mission is quite simple. One of the gems rests inside this cave. Your task is to enter, retrieve it, and bring it back to me. Once you have completed the mission, we shall return to the Grand Sea."
Are you telling me that after all the crazy tests we've been through in our training, our mission is just to stroll in and grab the gem? Nah, it can't be that easy. Spill the beans, man.
My experienced mate exclaimed, annoyed, as he confronted our mentor, attempting to coax more information. It was not the first time I witnessed this reaction of him, and it always left me wondering why Yakren harbored some hatred towards Rakt, although I never grasped the reason behind it, and I'm not sure if I will.
"Honestly, my dear Yakren, I have no idea what lies inside. All I know is what I just told you,"
Rakt replied, unfazed by the warrior's demeanor.
"I suppose we better get to work.
Ish intervened.
The longer we stay out here, the more delayed we'll be in accomplishing our objective."
We all swiftly understood the truth in Ish's statement. Rakt's expression hinted that the disciple had minimal knowledge of the trails that awaited us within that cave. Only fate knew what lay ahead. As we ventured a few steps further into the dimly lit cave, we realized that the feeble light from the outside struggled to penetrate its depths. How convenient it would have been if I could activate my amulet. As belonging to the Guardian of Light, it would have guided us effortlessly through that cavern. However, Ish, aware of my limited abilities, snapped his fingers. As if by magic, an incandescent flame appeared at the tip of his finger, dispersing the darkness and enabling us to walk along the rocky and damp walls, albeit with some difficulty. As we traversed the desolate landscape, an unfamiliar and putrid smell permeated the air, its origin eluding my comprehension. Eventually, we reached a small crack leading to a second chamber. From the outside, the room's peculiar illumination immediately caught my attention. Entering the room after Yakren, I was awestruck and bewildered by the sight of the magnificent gem levitating on the rocky floor, emanating an intense and beautiful turquoise hue.
What kind of joke is this?
Yakren angrily demanded, his gaze scanning the room as if searching for something that didn't align with his understanding.
That's one of the gems heroes kept. What's it doing here?
Indeed, I had seen Arus wearing that stone many times, adorning his finest attire. The Guardian of the Worlds proudly displayed a distinct pectoral where he kept the 5 gems he still possessed. However, I had never realized the sheer beauty of that piece. Fascinated by its splendor, I approached it to examine it closely, oblivious to Yakren's attempts to stop me. As I reached out to touch it, something unusual caught my attention, precipitating a series of misfortunes that awaited us in that uninhabitable place.